started. Hello, Internet. I'm Joe.
I'm Eric.
And my rabbit's healthy.
And you're listening to Just Cool Enough, and if you're experiencing loss or a personal tragedy, we recommend pornography.
Pornography solves so many problems, but it also might create a few. But they're kind of the good problems. Well, you know what? I take that back.
You know what kind of problems they don't create? Your inability for your car to start.
Oh.
Now, before you jump in, Joe, I just want to say I've been in the same place. In fact, on my way here or on my way back from the vets, my car also died, so I had to get a jump from the guy next to me.
But that's okay because you're a normal person. I'm a car guy, so when your car doesn't start, that's just like, you're not firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, I mean, my grandpa could keep any car alive forever, and you couldn't, so you're less of a man than any.
Exactly. I'm less of a man because Sarah wasn't able to go to work in that luxurious 1978 Diplomat.
Yeah, those cars, if you know what you're doing, they never die. So clearly you are just a shitty human being.
It's true. I'm a shitty.
Well,
everybody.
And it was, for me, seeing the video that you posted on Facebook about your car. It was kind of like when you hear people on the radio and you're like, I bet those people sound very attractive. I'd like to see pictures of them. And then you see a picture of them, you're like, holy shit, they're busted. It was like my idea of like what a Dodge Diplomat should look like and what I would expect you to be driving. I'm like, it's got to be a pretty nice car. I know it's kind of old, but I expect pretty. And then you kind of showed this fucking piece of shit.
Yeah,
it looks like behind you, and you're like, the battery wouldn't start. I'm like, I'm surprised the tires are still inflated and the engine's in the block.
Dude,
it looks like the Oldsmobile from the Evil Dead series. It's like the one that like fell through during Army of Darkness. It fell into medieval times and stuff like that, and he turns into like a buzzsaw, like killing tank and stuff like that.
I bought it in part because it looks like it's something out of Mad Max or some apocalyptic thing.
Yeah,
it has truck tires on it. It's rusted. And didn't you remember how excited I was when I bought this car and I was telling you guys about it?
Mm-hmm.
You did. Which again, you being a car guy was why I was expecting something a little more snazzy looking.
There's all kinds of car people.
Because I remember. Me and you took a road trip once, and we took your dad's Cadillac, and I'd never been into a Cadillac before, and it's like the $20,000 car or whatever it is, however much.
It was way more. It's like double.
Yeah, it's like 40,
Eric, you have no concept of vehicle cost.
No, I have no concept of any cost of how money works. I don't know how many monies. But it was an expensive-ish car. It was a higher end than it reminded me a lot. It was like my parents' sedan. Only definitely a tier or two above that. And I was like, this is all nice. It's got like these individual seat warmers, individual air conditioning. The seats adjust nice and then stuff. It's got, it had a USB port and stuff in it. And this was like 2008 or 2000. Yeah, it was like 2008. So a USB port in 2008 was crazy. It had DVD GPS. It was before cell phones were really big with GPS. So it was like super. And Joe was like, no, for whatever. $80,000 car, expect better. The seat makes a clicking noise when I blah 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 blah. It's not worth it. It's not worth the cash.
It's in my just when I see something, I call it out. That's what makes me a good product guy. I don't let shit go. But it's also really bad because
that's what makes you like a hoarder. Is really what it comes down to. That's what a hoarder says. I don't let shit go because you got to hold on to it.
No. Okay, so if something is glaringly obvious and bad with design, I hate it immediately. And so that kind of stuff bugs me. So, but what ends up happening is I end up shitting on people's day. So every once in a while, they're like, Sarah will make something and food, and I'll be like, oh man, this is really good, but that last one you made had this, and this in it. And it's like, oh, I say something, I look up at myself, I'm like, you fucking idiot. She just slaved over a kitchen and made you something, and you just shit on it on accident because you're such a fucking critic.
She's like, hey, I know you've been having a bad day, so I made your favorite meal. You just look at it, and you just throw it at the wall, and you said, it's missing paprika. And you just, open up your newspaper. You don't even, you're not even angry. You just pick it up and toss it, and then you just continue, just completely calm, stone-faced, reading your newspaper, not looking up. And you're just do it again.
Paprika. Again! So wait, you guys really like you don't understand. There's so many different kinds of car cultures out there, though. Like, there's not. You don't have to have a nice car if you like cars. You just you just gotta like cars and engage with other people that like cars. And I have more people talking to me about that old Dodge than any of my other cars. They love that thing. It's just like the coolest car ever.
You say any of your other cars, but how many other cars do you have? I saw the other one in the video.
Yeah, I bought a Honda CR-V as a backup winter car because I was feeling the Dodge Diplomat getting a little weak, I was like, "Oh baby, don't leave me now. I love you." And then I was like, I better get another car. So I kind of cheated on the car. And then when my Dodge Diplomat saw the CR-V, the Honda CR-V, it was just like, I can't live anymore. I just can't, and it died in the street. But I think I could fix it. But no, I'm one person and I have 3 cars. Big deal.
Wow, you're like rich.
Yeah.
That's why you're always flying around in your jets.
Or he
Have you seen the cars?
he certainly doesn't live in Los Angeles if that's the case because there's 3 people who live on, I mean, well, 2 since my sister's back in college, but we only have 1 parking spot. Like, we used to have 2 parking spots, but then we're like, we only need 1, so we traded for 1 that's in a better spot in our garage, but it's still
nice.
like there's nowhere to fucking park in Los Angeles.
That's the beauty of the burbs. I'm 30 minutes away from downtown Detroit. I'm 30 minutes away from downtown Ann Arbor, which is the best city in all of the Midwest as far as I'm concerned. But so I'm like straight in the middle of the burbs. So there's plenty of space. I got a 3-car driveway and a 2-car garage and just white picket fence. I got all that stuff. So I'm like, well, when you have all that room, why not fill it up with stupid stuff like buying cars?
You know what you don't have? Lobster food trucks.
No, I don't, and I'm fucking jealous.
We got so many food trucks. They're amazing. They're just so
What you do, Joe, is buy one and park it in your 3-car driveway.
Yeah, you should buy like a nice one. There's like there's one that's like Babe's Barbecue. I don't know. I would see that by the Children's Hospital, or there's like a lobster or one, and you just
Actually, grills babies, like the used babies at the Children's Hospital.
They might. I don't know.
Well, I mean, what else are you gonna do with the bodies? They're too small to bury. Just think of all
you just bury them, all the fetuses and stuff, and makes good drinks. No, I mean, I don't want to come off like an asshole, though. I mean, like, 2 of my cars probably net worth up to like $3,000. Like, I bought the Diplomat for a very low cost, and I bought the CR-V for a very low cost. And it has a terminal illness. That's the sad part. I just bought this car, and I knew going into it had a terminal illness. I'm like, I could fix it. So it's sitting there with the engine light on, and I'm like, anytime it could just explode. But I like it. Like when I played with Hot Wheels and Matchbox cars when I was a kid, I would sit there and I would like pick like the shittiest car, and everybody would be like, "Oh man, I'm a fucking spaceship car!" And this guy's like, "Oh man, dump truck's fucking sweet!" And then I'm just like, "Oh, I barely made it to work, and I'm working a dead end job, and like I like had this like really real, visceral experience when I was like in childhood." I was just talking to Sarah about this actually. Sarah's my significant other for all the new listeners we have, right?
His totally real girlfriend.
No one's ever saw her before. Yeah. But so I'm actually living my childhood dream of driving like a shitty car that kind of barely makes it to work, and I'm like, oh, that's so cool, and nobody else thinks it's cool. Everybody's like, you're fucking crazy, Joe. Like I work at a software company, like everybody's driving nice new cars, and I pull up with this jalopy, just blah, 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 blah. Everybody's like, ugh, park that in the back. Don't park that near our nice new building. I'm like, shut up, you don't understand. You don't know me. You're not my real dad.
The garbage trucks are pulling up and be like, listen, we can't take that in the garbage truck. And he's like, no, that's not garbage. That's my car.
I do park it near the garbage, like near the dump. It blends right in.
See, the problem I have is you have your 3-car, what is it? A
Just
5-car, technically. You can get 5 cars in your property.
If I
And I'm in an
needed to.
apartment complex, and when we have this blizzard, because it's officially called a blizzard, there's like no place to park because they
Oh,
shut
yeah.
down half the street. The other half the street, if you shovel your car out to go to the store and you come back, some other asshole has taken the spot that you shoveled out. Which, you know, I've been telling people, like, listen, you live in like the small urban area, it's gonna happen. Like, that's just the nature of the beast. But yeah, it is pretty shitty that you spend 5 hours shoveling out your car only to have somebody else park in it.
You got to have somebody stand there. Somebody, or have a decoy car that you could like put up like a tent.
It flips. I actually bought one of those cars that it's stapled to or adhered to the cement, and it just turns over when I go to park, and then when I go back, it turns back over like those old school.
No, you just get a
superheroes.
series. You get a series of boxes and cover it in a tarp, and you're good.
It's a car-shaped tarp. Tarp.
Dude, it was like 5 feet of snow. I had my neighbor.
Dude, you posted a picture? That was nuts. I'm looking, and I couldn't even see your vehicle. Like, I saw 2 lumps. That was not a car.
Guys, I mean, I know. You think I don't know crazy weather? It's been like 75, 78. It rained the other day, just a little bit, more of sprinkling, and it stopped after an hour. So yeah, it's like crazy over here.
We have this stuff called ice melt, Eric. And it's so cold here right now with the wind chill that the ice melt won't melt the ice. It just won't. It goes onto the ground, and it's this little pellet, and it's supposed to just immediately start working and cracking away that ice.
No, I get it.
It's been sitting there for
get it.
days.
Because I'll leave. Because sometimes I'll leave in the morning, and put on my very thin hoodie. But then like halfway out the door, I'm already warm once I get into direct sunlight, so I gotta take it off. But I'm already out of the house, so now I have to carry around a hoodie all day. It's fucking awful.
You know what? That is miserable, though. I mean,
I know.
like when you overdress and then you have to carry the clothing that you.
See, but that's why you don't overdress. You underdress. Like the other day, I was out shoveling yesterday in shorts.
No.
Yeah.
What?
You know, it was like,
Dude, it's like
one of my
12
neighbors was like,
degrees.
"Hey, I need to get into the trunk of my car." He's an elderly neighbor. He's like, "I need to get my ice scraper out," and he couldn't because it was like 3.5 feet of snow. So I'm like, okay. So I just jumped in the snow and crawled across it and opened up, and my legs are turning red and it's cold. But I'm like, whatever, fuck it. But 5 minutes later, I couldn't feel anything anyway, so I just finished shoveling out everything. It was
That's
fine.
called hypothermia.
Is my foot supposed to be this color of blue?
That is unhealthy. Do
No,
not.
but my girlfriend came inside, and it was, she's like, "Oh, I can't feel my fingers and toes," and she had like boots and everything on, like a couple layers on, and I felt fine. Like my fingers weren't different colors, my toes weren't different colors. I'm just used to being out there in the cold weather.
It was so great. Like I love every year the auto show goes by, and there's a bunch of people from not Michigan or not cold states. And they come in like, oh my God, it's so cold out here, and you're just like walking in like a t-shirt like this. You're just like, no. I left my jacket in my car. I didn't feel like using the coat check. People are like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I'm like, I don't know, but I'm sure like if I went to a hot state, I would just be like, what the fuck is? How do you stand outside and it's 90 degrees?
Well,
What the fuck's wrong?
And then like those people from like Arizona or Utah, they'll come to like California and it'll be like 63 and it's like perfect weather, and they're like, they got a jacket on. They're like, oh God, it's cold. It's like, fuck you. This is great weather.
The other
Yeah,
morning,
it's
Monday morning, when we had school, it was 14 degrees outside with the wind chill, or maybe it was last Friday, and so they won't let the kids go outside if it's under 20. So I walked in and I had my long dress pants on. Everyone's like, "Oh my God, he's wearing pants." And then like Monday came in, it was 28 degrees, so it was double that, and I was wearing shorts.
We've never seen Mr. Dodge. We've never seen Mr. Dodge without his utility kilt. Something must be wrong.
It's true. You always have to be prepared.
My sister, she's in New York right now for school, and they made, I guess her school's kind of old, so they made them all move to, like, she's in one dorm, but she had to move to another dorm because it was the only dorm that had a generator, so she had to, like, sleep on the floor of this dorm, and then I guess in New York the storm wasn't even that bad, so it was just this point that they had to she just had to, like, go there and hang out and sleep on a floor of some random dorm room.
Where the college that I went to is only the next town over, and I have friends who are still resident assistants there, and they had pipes burst last night. It was so cold that the entire second floor of the dorm flooded.
Oh my God! It's in some parts of Michigan, it is actually as low as negative 43. Like record lows. That
Well,
happened today.
They clearly canceled school in this area yesterday, yesterday, and they canceled it today, even though it was sunny out, because they wanted to give people a chance to dig out. And they actually, in Fall River, where I live, they canceled school tomorrow because people couldn't shovel out their walkways.
It's so.
No, I mean it's crazy. It is 71 and mostly
Fuck
cloudy.
you, Eric. I'm trying, like, everything. I'm holding this inside of me. I'm just like, yeah, I know it's wonderful over there, but you got 3 cars, Joe. You got fucking 3 cars in the suburbs. Everything's great. You got.
See, the way I look at it is you have a really fucking large area that you have to shovel out when it does
I do.
snow.
But that's why I have a fucking awesome snowblower. That's like
Called
that's
Sarah,
like a,
right?
that's
Is that
a
what it
big
is?
weight. No, it's that, but like that's a big
No,
dick
is she
weighting
a
contest.
I'm sorry, I had to go there because it rhymes
Don't
with
do no. I'm not engaging. Do not engage. I'm such an old man now. I love it. Like I was talking to the old guys at work, and I have like more in common with them than I do with my like friends that are coming up that are like on their early 20s. I'm like, oh wow, I've like aged. I went from like 16 to like 20, and then I went 20 to 26, and then I went 26. I'm 29 now, but my actual age I think is damn near 50 something. Like I just went 26, 50. Now I'm like, yeah, I had to take care of the burper, and then
I'm the same way because I got to about 11, and then from 11 I skipped to 14, and I was like, I'm a grown up, I'm a teenager now, I'm not gonna watch cartoons, and then I just stopped at 14.
14.
So I've been 14 for about 16 years now. Yeah,
I've been 25 for about the same. I feel
Yeah.
like I've stalled around 25 to 27, even though I'm 32 now.
I honestly I think my like actual age would be somewhere in like the late 30s, early 40s.
My
Like
girlfriend the other
thought
day, she's
process.
getting ready to turn 30, and she's like, "Oh man," she's like, "You turning 30 just seems like a terrible idea." She's like, "It seems so horrible." I'm like, "Yeah, really? I'm 32. Thanks."
But you know what? If you said
at 30 you become disgusting. Nobody wants to have sex with you anymore. Just the people around, like anybody who you live with, is just tired of your shit by the time you're 30.
I could remember like never because I think I'm 20. Am I 29 or 20? I'm 28, right?
Yeah,
Maybe you should look at your license, dude. Damn, you're old.
I think you're 20. You're a year younger than me. I'm 29.
Okay, so I'm 20. I'll be 29 in October-ish. But anyway, I don't know. Like I've always been a little bit older than all my friends, even like by age by like a year. But I think I'm always kind of thinking a little bit older than the people around me. I'm, when everybody's like talking about something, I'm like, well, yeah, but it's actually shit because of this. And then everybody's like, ah, I'm just like a giant fucking party pooper, just walking in, pooping on people's parties.
No, I get that because two of the guys in my sketch group that I'm friends with all of them, but the two guys, the brothers, one's 21 and one's like 23, 24, and we get along really well, even though I'm fucking old. Like but it's weird because I feel like I'm the same as that. Like the younger one, he does feel like he's a little younger, but the older one, I feel like we're about the same age. But then he'll talk about like, well, I'll mention something. He's like, oh, I remember that when I was a kid, and I was like, that happened the year I graduated.
Yeah,
In high school.
exactly. That's the 10-year gap between myself and my youngest brother. That is just it's kind of I thought it would fade away, but he keeps bringing up stuff that's just like, oh man, he wasn't even born when that was around. Like what the fuck? When did that happen? Where my other
like,
brothers are talking about it.
No, Trey. When you were a kid, you saw Jurassic Park on the 4th of July like I did. That was don't tell me, oh, I was too young, I was only 3 or some bullshit. Like, no, you were 9 at least.
See, like my kids at school, I'm like, dude, if you keep having your cell phone out during class, you're gonna lose the privilege of using cell phones during class. I'm like, oh, if I could use my cell phone in school, it's like I wouldn't even be at a real high school. I'm like, I don't even know what you think that this like does for you, because clearly I survived 4 years of high school. Damn, I sound old.
Oh,
yeah, I remember at my high school graduation, like one our valedictorian was talking about how kind of how incredibly privileged we are all are, and she's like, we've had cell phones since we're 16. I mean, they were the Nokia ones where you could kind of text, but they weren't smartphones or anything. But it's like, yeah, by the time I was like 16, 17, everybody had like either one of those big fat Nokia ones or like they were starting to get flip phones. I mean, no internet or anything, but still, like they started to introduce. Like the last year or so of my high school.
See, middle school for me, 7th and 8th grade was like, oh man, I got my Walkman and my mixtapes that I made, and then like somewhere through like high school, it was like, oh man, now I got a Discman. I had to make sure my Discman was good, and I go
Dude,
listen
that
to
thing has a
CDs.
minute anti-skip protection.
Yeah,
yeah, I remember that. Junior high is when they, like the end of junior high school is when we started doing CDs and CD players and stuff. But I remember specifically it was like it was middle of middle school. It was so I was like 7th grade. Tamagotchis were big, and like you had to hide them because the teachers would take your Tamagotchis away.
I could remember we were all sitting in class and the Tamagotchi. For the people that don't understand it, fucking Google it. Pause this, Google it, and come back to the show. But so like this Tamagotchi, you could hear when somebody's Tamagotchi needs food. It's sitting there like beep 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 beep, right? But it also makes a very distinct noise when it's dying. And so the rule was you can't, like your Tamagotchi stays in your backpack, play with it at recess. But we hit like 2, 3 Tamagotchis were all dying in like the backpacks, the wall of backpacks, and like all the kids are looking around nervously, like, is it mine? Is it mine? And I can remember like everybody like as soon as like, okay, we're done, recess has started, everybody gets up, runs over to the thing, and like tearing through their stuff, like, oh my God, mine died! No, that was like 58 years old, or I don't even know the ages, but yeah. It was just a mad rush. But now, like, things are obsolete now that, like, I can remember the teachers being like, you'll always have, like, I always have a calculator now. I never need to, like, know these things because I'll just use my fucking phone calculator. Like, why do I need to know? I don't need to know anything.
Well, and I saw on BuzzFeed, it was an awesome video. It was like, they had one guy, like, we're going to give you a flip phone, and we're going to give you a series of instructions that you have to go through for the day to find out information. And then they're like, we're going to give this other person a smartphone. And it's like, okay, I want you to find directions from point A in Los Angeles to point B. And the guy's like, okay, now I got to get out the map. And he pulls out the old, the book, and he's looking through it, and he has to drive from one place to the other, and it takes him a while to figure out how to get there. And he does it in like half hour. She's like, okay, Google, tell me the directions for blah blah, and it gives him like 10 seconds. And he's like, okay, now they brought me to a bookstore. I have to figure out who was the most decorated general of World War II. He's like, okay, how do I even start like looking for this?
You go to the library.
I mean, I guess I could ask someone. No, but he's like at a bookstore, so he actually walked up to an elderly man. And was like, hey, do you happen to know who the most decorated general is? And the guy's like, I think I do. It's so and so. And he walks over and he finds a book on the guy's like, yeah. And then she's like, okay, Google, who's the most decorated general of World War II? Bam! In like less than 10 seconds, she has the answer. And
well, I remember. Like when me and my mom first came down here looking at areas where we would want to move to when it was official we were going to move to, we just were like, we need to know Los Angeles a little bit. We were coming out of the airport, and my mom had printed all these maps and gotten maps from AAA, but I had this even this phone, my old G2, and I was like, it's got GPS. Like I'd never used, like it was the first time I used the phone for its intended purposes. It's the first time I actually got to experience a proper smartphone doing its thing, and like just driving around like with GPS, I could go anywhere. Like if we got lost, it would recalculate. Like it was amazing. I was like, oh my God, this makes it so easy. Like I can't understand how, like why you would do it any other way now.
My favorite quick GPS story, though, was going to try to become an Apple genius and work in an Apple store a few years ago. And I was like, okay, so I made it through the first round. I was going to the second round of stuff, and I just show up to the Apple store in Boston. So I'm like, okay, Google, where is the Apple store in Boston? It gave me the GPS, or not okay Google, but I looked it up on my iPhone. That's what it was. I looked it up on my iPhone, and I get to Boston. I'm wandering around trying to find where this is, following the GPS, and it keeps dropping me off at a building that is not an Apple building. I'm like, so I can't. It took me an extra 10 minutes to get to the place I needed to get to because I had to ask somebody else for directions on how to get to the Apple building because my Apple product couldn't tell me.
I'm just going to do a quick screen share here. So this is the future right here, guys. Like, we're talking about the past. This is the future.
Yeah. No, Microsoft announced they've got their augmented reality goggles, which are kind of interesting. That's more, I think, closer to what we see, like augmented reality glass, where like your GPS location is projected on the glasses you're wearing or on your windscreen. But yeah, like I had a weird GPS story, and it's not because of GPS exactly, but I was going to Six Flags with my friend Eric. And I knew he'd lived kind of far out, and I didn't want to like make him.
Is it actually another friend, Eric, or are you friending yourself in third person?
Yes. So no, I don't have a car. Of course, it's another person, and I didn't want to make it like I didn't want to make him drive all the way to Hollywood to get me. So I took the train as far north as I could towards because it would be an easy thing for him to pick me up. And he was running late anyways, but it was fine. He showed up, and we drove. And he was supposed to pick up two friends. But like they gave him the wrong, like he didn't have their proper address, so he was like, we were like trying to drive. The GPS drove us all the way back to Hollywood. We were like 3 blocks from my house, and I'm like, Jesus Christ! And he's like, yeah, I'm so sorry. Like we drove, like it was supposed to be in Glendale, and we're in like the middle of Hollywood at some weird like box store, and it's like, no, that's not even like this isn't where they don't live at this tool shed. Like what is that? And I'm like, I live 3 blocks from here. You could have drove here. I took the train for nothing.
That's great. I don't know. There's all sorts of GPS stories that I had because when I worked for Xerox, I was on the road all the time, so GPS was like my lifeline. But I got a new GPS for Christmas one year, and unknowingly, hold on a second, I need to. I'm and then I turned to an 80 years old on the stream, and then back in my day. Anyway, I never tested the GPS before I got it for Christmas, and apparently it was just a piece of shit. So I ended up driving like the wrong direction for 40-something minutes because the GPS wasn't like properly calibrated and being in a different state. I'm like, these roads just don't look the same anymore, and ever since that happened, I've relied less and less on GPS and only using it to get like the last couple miles of the journey because
I feel like the last couple of miles are the ones where the miles that will mess up the most.
Right. Well, that's true. That's really true.
Boston, awesome. But if you get me here to like a specific point in Boston, I'd rather you just get me to Boston and I'll figure out how to get to the specific location.
Well, like it's easier though. If you know what city you're going to, just follow the fucking signs of the city and then go to the next one and then go to the next one.
I get that. But and I use it a lot even when I know exactly how to get to locations we're going to because there are different ways to get places, and sometimes they intuitively it would seem like, oh, you take the freeway, it'll be faster, but it's not always faster. It depends. Like so, sometimes it requires us to use like different streets, and that's why I like the Google Maps because I'll be driving and they'll be like, turn here and you'll save 3 minutes. I'm like, yes,
That's exactly what I want. That's there's actually a report of. Do you know the app Waze for navigation and stuff? So there was a report that a police officer like did a request to Waze, like, can you please stop this feature from telling people to track where all the cops are on the road? Like, it's making me a lot harder for me to get speeding tickets in my area, and so I think that between Waze, I think Waze is such a distraction though when you're driving, because when you're in the middle of traffic, you're supposed to be like reporting the cop. It only works if you have a co-pilot. So
yeah. It's. I mean, I've used it once to track like because again it was for Six Flag trips and Eric and it was like everyone join so we can see when we get there and stuff like that, and it didn't really work. But the Google Maps use Waze, like they I don't know what algorithm they do it, but sometimes it'll be like, hey, there's an accident on this street reported by the Waze app. So I get the best of both worlds.
See, that is really nice. But it's starting to integrate more and more into Google Maps, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
See, the other thing that was, I remember when I first got a GPS, my dad's like, well, make sure that you always, you have your map book in the back seat just in case it doesn't work or the batteries fail or whatever. I was like, okay, Dad. So I've always had them in my car up until recently, and now it's like I have my GPS in my car should my phone
Right.
fail to get me where I need to go.
That is true. That is how it is. I mean, like, there used to be. I can remember my parents. We drove from Michigan to Florida one year, and there was these AAA like tick maps, right? Like, I forget what they call them, but like this is how our parents got around. They had written all the directions in like a Rolodex looking thing. Which, if you don't know what a Rolodex is, pause the podcast, search what a Rolodex is, and come back. So
Or don't.
yeah,
it's
fuck
also
it.
not worth it.
It's really Tamagotchi's worth it. Rolodex isn't. I'll stand behind that statement. But yeah, they used to like, okay, you made it to exit 23B. All right, switch the page, and then like, all right, travel for 14 miles on this road, then go left. All right, you made it there. Now switch the page, and that was like turn-by-turn navigation. And if you went off the path, you'd be fucked.
I was always pretty good at as a navigator back when we'd travel and I'd have to have a map or something. I was always pretty good at that. And even now with GPS, I'm a great navigator. It makes it that much easier. But I've always had a really good sense of maps and orienteering, so I'm pretty good at that kind of stuff.
That's actually why I don't use the GPS a lot of the times. It's like I want to prove to myself that I still have a decent sense of direction.
So I'm really good if I have landmarks to go by, so it's always those times when I need directions. Somebody's like, well, if you go down here like Francis Street, just take a left, you're going to go about 4 blocks down, you'll see Joe Schmo Street on the right. Now, you want to take that right, but you only want to go down a little bit. If you go 2 streets too far, I'm like, just tell me like Stop and Shop or gas station.
So it's like landmarks, it's not streets for you. You're like, there's the weird sign.
I find like the signs on highway is totally confusing to me. Like, I kind of been getting them now that I have a GPS and things are starting to make more sense, but I would still prefer to see something visual over.
Wait, what? You don't understand highway signs? How do you get anywhere?
GPS.
You just GPS everything?
No, I mean, if it's like, oh, you need to get from here to Providence, I can do that, but like once I memorize something, but it's like trying to get from here to my parents' place in North Carolina. They're like, oh, you want to take one of the major routes down. I think it's 71 or 72, or no, it's 70. It's 70. Take 70 straight down. I'm like, I have no idea how to.
It's gonna be so cool when that Microsoft like HoloNet. Is that what it's called? Hollow.
It sounds like a terrible like. Sci-fi area.
It's a shitty name. It's like Microsoft.
Like the Darknet.
I don't know what it's called. Hold on.
HoloLens.
HoloLens, yeah. So the HoloLens. So the HoloLens, it goes over your face and it does an overlay. And I think this is so cool. It's so actually, you know what? We have an email about this.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, we actually got 3 emails. So can you open up the emails? We can talk about those.
I can once Google stops being a pain in my butt. All right, there we go.
I'm like, oh yeah, somebody actually
it's like Joe intentionally segued the whole show into it, but didn't.
On accident. Read the one from Brady first.
All right, so this is from Brady. He says, "Dear JC, Joe, just as the JC Tech guy, what is your opinion and thoughts on Microsoft HoloLens? I can't wait to own a holographic dog and have a holographic girlfriend." Like Eric, I recently got Dungeons & Dragons board game, Lords of Waterdeep, where you play lots of lords in the city who give adventurous quests. Have either of you played it? Recommend it. Great. Keep up the great show. XOXO Brady.
So Brady does the double-edged sword of a question. He's like, hey, Joe, why don't you distract yourself with this? And he must have known that I've only scanned up to that point in the email, and then I was like, oh, fuck, I got something to talk about. And I didn't read the continuation, which had to do with Dungeons and fucking Dragons.
The HoloLens seems like a really cool. I don't know if it actually will do what they promise, because who knows? I mean, the Kinect has never worked like they said it would, and I don't know if the technology exists to do what they say it do. Eventually, we'll have that shit, what they promised in those videos, but it's an awesome idea.
Like, do you know what it is? Have you been privy to what's going on?
I mean, I've heard a little bit in terms of the sense that it's vaguely similar to Google Glass, but I mean, in a very Google Glass is a very rudimentary version of it.
So Google Glass is just a little screen at the top of your head that you look up to
over your whole vision.
Exactly, it goes over your whole vision. It's an overlay, and so basically you're able to overlay graphics onto the world around you. And
Yeah, like they show like a guy, using his computer and waving, and then like show a guy like playing Minecraft, but it's like his living room's
wouldn't that
Minecraft
be
now.
cool? Minecraft in your living room, like with your living room stuff. But so this is actually a really interesting thing that Brady brought up here, because he's talking about having a holographic dog and holographic girlfriend. You slap this thing on, and you can have a holographic Tamagotchi that you take care of. But even like what you're saying for GPS, like put on your driving goggles and
Well, I
there you
imagine
go.
it wouldn't like in the future it would be part of like
Yeah, part
your
of
your
it.
screen, because I see it all the time, like in wasn't Ghost Protocol, but the fourth Mission Impossible movie, they have the screen, the one with Philip Seymour Hoffman. They have like a screen that projects a thing, and I think they did it in that last Jack Ryan movie, Jack Ryan Shadow Recruit.
Jack Reacher.
No, Jack Ryan Shadow Recruit. They've got like it sort of projects the thing on the screen, and that's kind of that. And I actually liked it. I remember you talking shit. You saw that in the theater and hated it. I actually liked that movie.
Did you really? I thought it was really corny.
I thought I liked it because it's very true to the source material. The Jack Ryan, like it covers his origin, which they've always talked about but never covered. That he was in the Marines.
Wait a second. How the fuck do you know who Jack Ryan is in the first place?
Because he's Clear and Present Danger, Hunt for Red October, Patriot Games, and also
whoa. That's all one guy?
yeah, Harrison Ford played. It was first Hunt for Red October with Alec Baldwin, then Patriot Games and Clear and Present Danger with Harrison Ford. Then they did the one with Ben Affleck, which was okay, and this is the next.
I had no idea. This is the origin story.
Yeah,
To Jack Ryan.
and it stays true to his origin story. And I was worried because it looked like it was going to be like Jack Ryan is Action Man, which he's never been Action Man. He's a CIA analyst he's not a spy, and they played that. They played,
Wait. But I think I'm talking about a Tom Cruise movie, and you're talking about something totally different.
Well, Jack Reacher is the Tom Cruise movie.
See, and I was talking about the wrong movie.
No, because you came, and I was like, yeah, it's on Netflix. And you're like, no, it's not. I saw it in the theater today. So you were talking about Jack Ryan.
Maybe.
So,
Maybe.
But anyways, yeah, Hologlass looks cool. I don't think it actually exists.
You don't
like
think it's
they
gonna
say.
kind of take off? Like I really think
It
that
would if it actually works, but I don't think it does.
it looked like the demos and stuff, and from all the press, even the kind of anti-Microsoft people that normally are shitting on Microsoft all gave it pretty good reviews and stuff. I mean, the apps aren't all the way there, but I just think like that technology is going to be so prevalent moving forward.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm already thinking, because I wanted to get the Google Glass Explorer stuff. I almost did because I was thinking about the educational / art like application to it.
Yeah.
But even this, I've come across a few iPad apps that are like they create like shapes that you can through sound, but you can see them, and they've used them in art classrooms with kids so that they have this augmented reality piece that they can actually walk around in 3 dimensions. So once they kind of create this noise sculpture, they can then interact with it. So I'm thinking like having something
Nintendo
like this
already
could
did it
allow
with
you to
their
do-
Nintendo already did it with their RF cards or whatever, their augmented reality cards. So the
Yeah,
3DS can do.
but you can see the augmented reality, but you can't make it. Whereas some of this app, you could actually use sound to create your own sculpture. So you have kind of these predetermined shapes that you can pick from.
Eric, do your noise and try to make a sculpture out of it.
But it's not like you're like, like you can make any noise. You can clap.
No,
you can whistle, whatever.
What is it? The
No.
if
But
three
yeah.
men get together and do that noise, like what kind of
The
sculpture?
HoloLens looks interesting. As for Lords of Waterdeep, I haven't played it. I hear it's a good board game. I saw they did it. I think they played it on Tabletop a couple of, on one of the episodes of Tabletop, and it looked interesting. I hear good things about Lords of Waterdeep, but I haven't played it, so I can't speak to it.
What is Lords of Waterdeep?
It's a board game where instead of being like adventurers adventuring in Dungeons and Dragons, you're the quest givers, and you send adventurers on quests and stuff and try and gain riches through them.
Well, that doesn't sound interesting at all.
Apparently it is.
It doesn't sound interesting,
Well, apparently it is.
according to Brady.
Yeah.
I tend to believe him because he's a trusted listener. like a trusted. He's just like you go to like an online store and like trusted vendors. He's a trusted listener. Well, we got another email, Ike. We got 2 other emails. I
One
just
of
want
these, one of these is an email from PayPal. Why would you care to? I unstarred that. Why the fuck do you care about
I
that?
just keep restarting it. Somebody stopped their automatic payments, so we need another listener to kind of pick up where their slack was. It's very noticeable when 20% of your revenue goes away. So if anybody could just donate $2 a month, that'd be great. So
It was
jump on the
actually
plan.
$4 because he had $2 a month payments for the longest time, but we just never.
Oh no! That's like 50% of our revenue.
Yeah.
We're fucked. The whole company's going under. What are we gonna do? We have to have
So
an
I think we
emergency
need to do what
board meeting.
NPR does and devote 30 minutes of our show.
No,
to
we just started.
live.
We
And then
just
say,
started
if you don't want us to
Patreon.
devote 30 minutes of our show to ask you for money, just you should buy in with a subscription.
I like the Patreon idea.
Yeah, let's just start a Patreon and say, hey guys, we're just cool enough. We've been doing this show for like 5 years now.
Just pity money,
we're
please.
not sure. We're not sure how much longer we got, honestly. So we're just trying to get as much cash as we can before we finally check out.
Yeah, you know what? Let's let's cash this. Let's cash it in, guys. Let's cash it in now. It's been 5
It
years.
is kind of true, though, because, I mean, we work good as a trio, but with Joe always stepping away because he has to make money for his other job, we don't know how long the show has left. So we could use more money to keep Joe here and keep the show alive.
If
You have no
got-
idea how tempting how like when I've looked at how much we have, which isn't much, and go, I could get something with that. They would never notice. Like, who cares?
I
What are we
haven't
gonna spend it
logged
on?
it. You could have been buying porn hookers and blow from the black market with all of the money. I would never know.
You cannot afford like not a hooker that's worth anything. Like
Let's cash that money out. Come over to Detroit. We got a street called Cass Avenue.
yeah, I don't feel like blowing.
Good
I don't
time.
feel like wasting like 5 years worth of donations on just a
On a
really
shitty hand job.
See,
Yeah,
what
from a-
you do, Eric, is you get all the money in cash, you go to Detroit, show up at Joe's house, kind of toss it up in the air in front of Sarah and be like, does he got this shit? And just start throwing the money around. Maybe
it's
she'll
not
leave
that
Joe.
much money. She'll be like,
I know,
she'll be-
but
and most of it'll have to be change, and it'll just knock her unconscious.
just throw pennies.
Yeah.
Could go to the bank and be like, can I have like $130 in pennies?
As long as she
I just-
doesn't sit there and count it all, it'll look like a lot of change.
I just toss $20 worth of quarters at her and knock her unconscious and be like, "Oh fuck!" And then just
Why would
run
you
away.
do that? Then we have to fight, and then I'd be
Yeah.
like, someone record this. Eric and Joe are fighting.
And it'll just be the saddest thing.
It would.
And then we'll get donations. But anyways, we got an actual email from an actual person, an
We did.
actual human.
This one's from Tony. It says, hopefully Joe's on the show. Hey guys, hopefully Joe bothers to show up because I have a question specifically for him.
Why?
Back when max speed was a thing, one of the pieces of music bed was this cool jazzy thing with vinyl scratching and saxophone. It was so damn good. I just need to know what the hell it was called. I need it in my life. Or just so you know, bring max speed back. That works too. Glad you guys, not all of you, all of you, not just Joe, are still around on the internet doing the podcast thing, and you seemingly survived all the post-WC Radio Drama Fest intact. Keep on keeping on. Tony.
See, this guy likes what we do. Thanks, Tony. Thank you.
See, the key was we actually quit when everyone else quit, and then we were just kind of like we weren't actually part of OMFG. We just posted our show there and our website. Like it was, like we started the show before that fell apart. So then we just continued to be us the entire time.
There wasn't any transition. We were going to do this show regardless.
Yeah, we were doing it already, and then everything fell apart, and then
Like
we just
Ford
continued.
Motor Company before the crash.
Yeah. So, anyways, thank you guys both for the emails. You can always email us at this show at justcoolenough.com and maybe get your email read out on air as well.
I never got to tell him the song.
Well, go ahead. I was just telling them that they can email us at this show at justcoolenough.com.
You tell him the email again while I find the song.
Okay. So.
That email is theshow@justcoolenough.com, or you can email us at really anything at justcoolenough.com, and Eric will get it all. So if you really just want to send spam to Eric, you could just email anything, really.
No? Yeah.
Come on, Joe. We can only stall for so long.
Okay, fine. I found the song, and I'm pretty sure he's talking about... It's actually the most popular piece of music I've played
On the internet ever.
on the internet. I'm surprised he doesn't know it. No, it's
Keyboard
Incubus.
Cat.
Boop, boop. Anyway, it's Incubus Battlestar Scratchtacula, and it's on the Make Yourself album. If you search that, it's 3 minutes and 49 seconds of fucking awesome. So go enjoy. I wish I could play it on the
Technically,
street.
you're not allowed to actually use that because you're rebroadcasting.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I just incriminated myself, but that was like 5 years ago, so it doesn't count.
Yeah,
Statute of limitations, you're good.
Yeah. Is that a thing? Does that like...
Statute of limitations is a thing, but I don't know what the statute of limitations is on music piracy. So
Well, it wasn't piracy. It was just...
Yeah, you took music without permission and you used it to rebroadcast.
It was a MIDI file. I didn't actually use the real one.
okay, then it's
That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Plus, the beauty of that is nobody has any episodes of Max Speed, so you got no proof. I was never popular enough to make proof for this, so you can say whatever you want.
I wonder if I go to download episodes of Max Speed, what will show up.
Oh God! Don't even I don't even want that to pop up in search. I don't think that'll work. Anyway,
I got Star Wars Episode 3, but nothing about Max Speed.
That's been erased from the internet. It only lives on here because people keep talking about it. And you know what? It was so weird. Miguel Pena friended me on LinkedIn, and he looks like a handsome little devil nowadays. I gotta say.
Good old Michael Angel Pineapple.
Michael Angel Pineapple, a.k.a. Max Maps. He friended me on LinkedIn, and I'm like, LinkedIn? This is how we're gonna connect? After all these years, you're finding me on LinkedIn?
He's like the community manager of Squad, the guys who do Kerbal Space Program, which just went to 1.0. Congratulations, it's finally out of beta after like 17 years.
He's gonna have a fiesta.
Yeah. Just saying that because they're Mexicans.
Or if they worked really hard at it, a siesta.
Yeah, it's true.
God damn it. Bueno Vanitos. Anyway, I just want to say, you know, I think he's done well for himself. So if anybody's interested, Max is on LinkedIn. Go check him out, and friend me while you're on there. Why not?
And I just want to say, have you seen this shit? What? Oh yeah, this week's Have You Seen This Shit? Long time coming since I did one of these. It's a 5-minute video about this. I think he's like Danish guy named Lars Anderson, who is basically kind of rediscovering archery, like, because modern archery is very, very slow. It's very like aiming. It's all about standing in one place. But archery was not that, and he's been kind of over the past few years like teaching himself how to shoot and teaching himself to shoot the way they used to do in medieval times. And the video is fucking awesome. Like they show like this technique that's clearly illustrated in some books and stuff throughout ages.
Holy shit.
Of him. And he'll fire like 3 arrows in like under a second. It's fucking amazing. Like they show like Legolas in the Lord of the Rings, they're like, oh, he's supposed to be like firing faster than humanly possible, and this guy fucking trounces him. He's like thwap, 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 you know, just like way faster than anything you've seen before. And he also fires it shows him doing like close-up stunts. It shows him like jumping through the air and hitting shit. It shows him shooting an arrow out of the sky that's fired towards him. You know, he's really like trying to bring back, you know, the way archery used to be, you know, back when it was a viable form of
Dude, this is
combat.
so sweet. This is really cool. So wait, how long has he been doing this, you say?
Only a couple of years, like 3 years, maybe 5 years. I don't know. Like
Holy
not
shit.
very long. But yeah, he's getting like he talks about how like it takes like modern archery, it takes 3 moves in order to fire, whereas like with the way his method, it only takes 1 move. It's all really cool.
So is this like a documentary?
No, not really. It's just kind of a video. He does has a couple of videos and stuff. This is just a really awesome thing of him like showing how he shoots, you know, with both hands and like just different things that like used to be expected of archers until we invented guns.
So this guy's basically, I mean, he's ready for any sort of apocalypse or anything like that. Like, this is what you want. This guy. If it's the end of the world, look for Lars Anderson.
Yeah.
Is there anybody in the world that does shit like this anymore? Like it. I mean, like legitimately.
Not
Everybody has
that I
guns
know of.
now.
It's possible, but a lot of archery is guys with arrows on their back slowly aiming and taking their time and stuff. And even the ones that do it fast still take a long time. And this is him kind of finding the old books and old drawings and trying to do a more doing archery the way it probably was actually handled in combat.
It looks
I
so
don't
much
want
more
to
badass.
brag, but I used to actually teach archery for 3 or 4 years.
Did you teach Lars Anderson?
Maybe. I mean, I don't want to throw names out. It's like you don't kiss and tell. I don't want to. I don't want to comment.
You don't
on
loose
that.
and tell.
Yes, exactly.
So wait, what? I thought you were gonna drop like a great nugget of information.
Well, I mean,
like
I don't
taught
have any great
archery.
nuggets of information, but I mean, I appreciate people that go out and do archery like this, that are really kind of going out there and either A, trying to bring it back or just really having fun with it. Because I think just watching people in competitions is it's like golf to me. It's like so
they take
boring.
they take their time. Their bows have a bunch of like sights and shit on it and
That's the other thing. It's like I don't want a bow that has 15 moving parts to it. Like I want like old Robin Hood style where it's like ooh, you got just the.
And that's what he does. Like because it shows him he's like right hand, left hand. He fires with his foot. He's like sitting at a desk and like does that like cool thing from like movies where you fall back and shoot people with guns. Well, he does that with a fucking bow. He like kicks himself back and fires a bow at a guy at a stationary foam target.
But is he more of a plumed archer or is he more of a long bowman? Like where are we at here?
It's definitely a plume. It's a plume deal because archery like we see it in a lot of things where it's like guys standing still and firing volleys, but they were also like they moving in between trees and stealthy and combat, like having to like run and move and shoot and stuff.
Well, and so I know we talked about this last week, but one of the components of the LARPing group that I play in is that some people actually play archers in the game, and unlike having a real bow and arrow, they make it's like a PVC piping with a bit of foam on the end of it. When they put fletchings on it, I don't know if they actually help with these heavy things, but there are people that like can use these things kind of, and I guess they would be as close to like combat archery as you're going to get nowadays because they actually hit me. But I've tried to use these things; they're so heavy, and you have to like. Instead of just being like 2 feet in front of the target, so by the time he gets there, it hits them. These guys are like 10 steps ahead, so they're totally assuming that they know where the person's going to go, and usually they hit. I've tried to use them before, and they're like terribly hard to use. But I can only imagine what actual combat, like shooting, would be like. Just because you have to anticipate everything with exactly where the person's going to be in a few steps, and if the person changes direction, you're SOL. Unless they're running straight at you.
Which you should always run the Z.
Yeah, serpentine. So if you want to check out that video, you can either search for it on YouTube. His YouTube username is Lars Anderson 23. You could just Google Lars Anderson and you'll probably find it. Or you can go to justcoolenough.com and check out the show notes and see all of that stuff. But I think it's time we stop talking about this horse crap like archery and GPS and start plugging each other.
Oh, yeah!
My plug for this week is the website atomic-robo.com. Atomic Robo is probably one of my favorite comic series, and the creator of it has decided, I don't know why he decided to do this shift, but he decided he's now opened up a Patreon, and which I certainly am giving him $1. I don't mind at all, but you don't have to. But also his website now, atomic-robo.com, has the entire, he's releasing the entire back catalog of Atomic Robo as a webcomic. It is already the first 2 volumes of the series are up. They're great, and he's gonna just start doing it as a webcomic now instead of a comic, which is great. They're incredible. I love these comics. They're super funny and smart, and the art style is really great. And I think you should check it out.
Awesome. My plug for this week is volcaniamedia.com, my new empire. So go check it out. It's a company that I'm just starting out this year, and I have enough clients that I'm working on the side of my normal 9-to-5 job that it's like, fuck, I'm dealing with real money now. I gotta I gotta protect myself. I better make an LLC. And then so I made this company, and now these people are working with me, and then like I gotta do more stuff and blah blah blah. Anyway, check it out, volcaniamedia.com. Your feedback, because honestly, like listeners, if you're listening right now, I feel like we probably know each other. You know, like I feel like we've been around. So your feedback with something like this is very valuable. Just drop me an email.
I feel like that's poor marketing, Joe.
What do you mean?
I did this product for you, and you should tell me what you think of it.
No, I want to know what they think of it. I trust what our listeners say.
But my point is, what is it that your product is, so that I would want to go look at it, because you didn't tell me.
Volcanic Media is whatever you want it to be. So actually, this is kind of what
ambiguous.
I'll explain it. I'll explain why Volcania Media.
Or don't.
Okay, I won't. Ike, what's your plug?
I was really looking for a place to pick up hookers, so I guess Volcania Media is the place for me.
I'm not. No comment. I'm a business owner now, Ike.
I want to do blow off the back of a naked. Never mind.
Just no
Volcania
comment.
Media is the place for me.
This is not what I.
You know what? You should let me do all the marketing. We could go places with your media site if I can do all the marketing for it.
Why don't you do some marketing for this show?
All right, I don't have a plug this week, so you should totally email us at theshow@justcoolenough.com, and maybe if enough people email us, maybe Joe will come around more often. It's like when you ring a bell and a fairy gets its wings. When you email the show, Joe is more apt to show up and actually do something.
You know what? You guys are twisting the knife here. I love this show. It's a weekly tradition. You guys hurt my feelings. Now I'm hurt.
Well, what was your last big thing that I think is still going? But I mean, you had the SoundCloud. Was that what? No, it wasn't that. That was what was your other?
You mean ShoutEngine.com that serves like 3 million downloads a month?
Yeah,
for
that was
podcasts?
That's part of your empire too, right?
Well, it is kind of, yeah. Over 3 million people monthly. Well, we'll say 2 million for sure. Close to 3 million people monthly download their podcast from ShoutEngine.com. If you want to start your own podcast, you can in under 5 minutes at ShoutEngine.com. Also,
and Max Speed's still going too, because I mean your empires seem to go strong, and we have Girly Nerdy Goodness, which I know you help kind of get rolling, because those are all the girls you know. That's still going pretty strong
Study
too.
Show and
Study Show.
Miss Pals.
You know fail early and often. The more you fail, the more you try, the more you learn. So
I'd like to take your media company and use it for a place to place bets on how well your other media companies will do.
You want to start a gambling ring with my web development, podcasting, photography, and videography and technology consulting company?
Oh God, stop talking about all this horse shit. We're done plugging each other. Anyways, you guys can always follow me on Twitter. I'm at Duncor, Duncor.
You can follow me on LinkedIn, because now I'm a professional. Check out my name on LinkedIn, Joe Q. Cariotti.
And you can follow me on whatever. I don't really give a shit about any social media.
Good. So thank you guys so much for checking out the show this week. And until next week, have a wonderful weekend. And fuck off and look at pornography.
Oh, you know what? That's a good idea. I'm going to start right now.
Yeah.